Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, unknown chasm, the echoes of your choices resonating in the depths below. This isn't just a story. It's a reality that many shy away from, a truth about your soul that you cannot ignore. Have you ever wondered if your spirit is in peril? The answer might surprise you. Yes, it can be. But fear not, because understanding this can lead to profound liberation and transformation. Today, we're delving deep into the spiritual truths that have been overlooked for centuries, revealing how embracing them can steer you away from danger. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and in the comment section, share where you're from and the miracles Jesus has done in your life. Remember, Jesus is with you, and may he bless you abundantly. In the solemn hush that follows life's final breath, a profound transition unfolds. The moment the soul parts from its earthly vessel, it finds itself in a state of bewilderment, detached from all that was tangible and known. This initial disorientation is like awakening to an unfamiliar world, where the ruinous echoes of what once was seep into the consciousness with an eerie clarity. As this intangible entity stands at the precipice of eternity, its former life plays out in a haunting carousel of memories, prompting an acute awareness of every decision and action. The soul, now unmoored, encounters a void. This void is not merely an absence of light, but a palpable emptiness, a vast abyss that encompasses all that was once familiar and cherished. The quiet is deafening, and it underscores the profound sense of isolation that begins to settle within. Here, within this vacuum, there is no distraction from the multitude of sins that flood the soul's memory, each heavy with regret, barren of redemption. It is a moment where the full weight of one's earthly existence is felt, devoid of the distractions that once dulled its significance. Then comes the pull. An invisible force, both relentless and indifferent, begins its draw. This pull is not a gentle invitation, but a compelling drag downward, into an eternity of torment that has been written about in sacred texts, warned of by prophets, yet often dismissed or understated by those engrossed in the mundanities of the world. This descent is swift and unstoppable. The soul is taken deeper into the abyss, away from the physical realm that seemed so permanent only moments before. As the descent continues, a somber realization takes hold. The soul becomes acutely aware that it is moving towards judgment, an eternal judgment that is no longer a distant, abstract thought, but an imminent reality. The darkness thickens, becoming almost a living entity, stretching endlessly in all directions, void of end or beginning. This darkness is not mere absence of light, but the loss of hope, a separation from the divine source of warmth and love. In this descent, the soul grasps the severity of its situation. The everlasting nature of this judgment is daunting, overshadowing any earthly consequence it had ever feared. This is a domain where time, as it was once known, holds no sway, where minutes do not lead to hours, nor do days lead to nights. There are no endings here, only a perpetual continuation of the state in which the soul finds itself. All that remains is the stark and brutal truth of one's own choices, laid bare without the comforting veils that life often provides. The soul is forced to confront its own essence, stripped of the facades and deceptions that once provided refuge. It feels the chilling slide towards the infernal, an unmistakable confirmation that the promises and warnings of Scripture were no idle threats, but eternal truths demanding reckoning. This realization is accompanied by an overwhelming sense of loss of the divine presence that was always so near, so accessible. The memory of it is like a fading echo, leaving in its wake an aching void where divine grace once lingered. In this trajectory towards eternal suffering, every cherished value crumbles, leaving behind only the unadulterated truth of a life lived without heed to its eternal consequences. This, then, is the beginning of unending torment, a torment not just of circumstance, but of a deeper spiritual anguish. The soul's journey has led it to a destiny that is both chosen and inescapable, a reflection of its lived reality. It enters the darkness not simply as punishment, but as a fulfillment of its own design, crafted through choices, deliberate and otherwise. As each moment of this journey etches itself into the soul's being, the anticipation of what lies ahead becomes almost unbearable. The darkness carries with it not just the absence of light, but the absence of the divine, a perpetuity of spiritual famine. This is not merely hell as a place, but a state of profound disconnectedness from the eternal source of all love and compassion. Thus begins the soul's entrenchment into a realm where the whispers of past transgressions echo through eternity. It is here, in this unending night, devoid of celestial favor, that the soul truly understands the depth of its separation. The weight of loss is tangible, and with it comes the undeniable conclusion, a chilling clarity that the journey through this desolate expanse is one of perpetual solitude, away from the comfort of divine embrace, and deeply entrenched in eternal despair. The moment the soul detaches from the physical vessel, a tumultuous journey begins, and in its course, countless feelings and realizations surge forward. Among these, a distinct stage of harrowing experience lies in the torment and isolation faced by souls in hell, a phase enveloped in profound solitude and an unsettling sensation of being utterly forgotten. As if left in a vast, unending void, this isolation is a condemnation far more piercing than any physical suffering that may assail the soul. In this realm of perpetual dusk, a silence deep and oppressive hangs heavy, wrapping the soul in a desolate stillness that echoes with the weight of its own missed opportunities and forsaken chances. The absence of sound is more than mere quiet. It is the unrelenting reminder of a life lived distant from divine truth. The lonely silence echoes louder than thunder, amplifying each remorseful thought, each regret sustained within the innermost recesses of one's spiritual essence. Here, in this barren spiritual landscape, there is not merely a lack of physical comfort, but a deprivation far more grievous. The soul's profound disconnection from the divine presence it once spurned. An eternal separation lurking in the depths extends its shadow over the heart, a stark representation of life's choices that led to this fate. Cut off from the light and warmth of God's grace, the soul languishes in a permanent state of grief that extends beyond an endurable limit. The anguish of isolation is marked by an acute perception of abandonment, a soul enclosed in a solitary chamber of sorrow, where no voice of compassion penetrates. Even amidst countless souls who share the same plight, there lies an undeniable truth that this suffering is pointedly personal, uniquely theirs, as each soul's afflictions are shaped by the very sins which drew it down this relentless path. Solitude here is not the mere absence of others, but rather an enduring reminder of one's own transgressions and the chasm separating the soul from divine salvation. Moreover, within this eternal solitude, the weight of forgottenness bears heavily, as the soul wrestles with the understanding that it lies beyond the reach of redemption, a fundamental awareness that intensifies its terror and desolation. Forsaken by the grace once freely offered, this knowledge becomes a prison from which there is no escape. Such a fate surpasses the agony of bodily torment, for it entails an all-encompassing spiritual bleakness that intensifies the soul's yearning for what it so desperately lacks. The soul's torment is not merely a passive state. It is an active process filled with an unyielding struggle against inner demons. The lack of divine presence strips away any semblance of hope, thrusting the soul into a perpetual night of despair. Each moment becomes an endless loop of self-examination, where the soul is forcefully confronted with the myriad ways in which it has diverged from its intended harmony, a grim reckoning with its own inadequacies and failures. This isolation serves as both a mirror and a verdict, where every shadowy thought reflects back upon itself, scrutinizing the soul without mercy. It underscores an irrevocable truth. that the missteps of a lifetime now echo through eternity, without relief or absolution. The soul, in its solitary suffering, is denied the solace of distraction, forced instead to endure the relentless contemplation of its severance from eternal love. The acute sense of abandonment reaches a crescendo in the realization that there remains no pathway back to comfort or completion. Within this realm devoid of divine mercy, the soul's isolation becomes its entire universe, a universe bereft of any guiding light. No intercession, no uplift, for here, all connections have drifted into the winds of forgetfulness, leaving behind a stark testament to the consequences of estrangement from the Creator. Yet, within this somber terrain, a deeper understanding unfolds, unveiling the severe gravity of existing without the boundless kindness of divine grace. In hell's isolation, while grappling with its own suffering, the soul is brought to acknowledge a profound absence. The divine communion that once was available yet disregarded, now forever beyond reach. This intimate understanding of what is lost perpetuates a yearning that itself becomes an aspect of punishment, an endless thirst that can never be quenched. Such is the experience of torment and isolation in hell, a vivid and sorrowful illustration of spiritual desolation. It presents not only a farewell to divine intimacy, but also an eternal exile into profound solitude and inner anguish. This portrayal paints a vivid picture of the soul's condition when distanced eternally from the divine presence, and serves as a testament to the unfathomable anguish that accompanies separation from the Creator's grace. In the unfathomable chasm of eternal judgment, where the fires of condemnation blaze with unforgiving intensity, the soul faces its ultimate reckoning. Unlike earthly flames, which dance wildly and consume without discrimination, these fires possess a dreadful intelligence. They probe the deepest recesses of the soul, exposing every hidden sin to the harsh glare of divine justice. This fire does not just burn, it judges, and through judgment, it delivers a torment that resonates beyond the flesh, directly into the core of one's spiritual being. This inferno is not a mere physical punishment. Imagine a flame that knows you, that comprehends your every thought, word, and deed. It dives into the depths of your spirit, igniting a profound awareness of each transgression committed in life. You feel the heat not just on your skin but within your soul, an unyielding reminder of the irreversible separation from God. This separation is not merely a missed acquaintance. It is the detachment from the very essence of love, mercy, and peace. Inside this fire, there is clarity, a harrowing comprehension of self. It is a fire that not only consumes but illuminates, revealing the absolute truth of one's existence without the obscuring shadow of self-deception. The soul cannot hide. It lies bare before the unblemished righteousness of divine judgment. Every moment of rebellion, every selfish act, and every forgotten chance for redemption are replayed with excruciating detail. The fire demands acknowledgement, pushing the soul to recognize its failures and the gravity of its choices. This relentless fire is eternal. It does not wane or extinguish. With no hope of reprieve or end, the soul is confronted with an everlasting reality, a reality where there is no second chance, no possibility of turning back the clock. The realization that one's decisions have led to this irrevocable fate feeds the flames, intensifying the agony with its bitterness. The soul's cry echoes in the void, "What have I done?" But the silence that responds is as devastating as the fire itself. Moreover, this intelligent flame forces an acute realization. Away from the eternal presence of God, the soul recognizes what has lost. The beauty of divine grace, once taken lightly or overlooked, now shines in stark absence while the soul languishes in torment. This awareness exacerbates the pain exponentially. You remember the quiet whispers of conscience, the moments of contemplation where a different path could have been taken, where love of self overshadowed the call of divine love. As God's light grows distant, the darkness reinforces the penalty, and the soul becomes ever more aware of its isolation. This knowledge haunts you, a persistent reminder of what was needlessly surrendered. All that remains is the faith that was ignored, the love rejected, and the opportunities for redemption that were consistently postponed until it was eternally too late. In this place, there is no physical landscape to describe, for hell is not bound by earthly dimensions. There is only the oppressive atmosphere heavy with the soul's despair. The fire may not emit a visible glow, but rather a searing truth that scorches hope. Attempts to numb the pain only fuel the fire. Denial is not an anesthetic here. The intelligent flames reject false comfort, demanding truth and self-confrontation. Those in their earthly lives who spent their days avoiding reflection now find themselves captives of perpetual scrutiny. While alive, they could suppress guilt, drown conscience, and anesthetize spiritual discomfort with distractions and indulgences. But here, the relentless flicker of divine insight ensures nothing escapes examination. The finality of the moment presses upon the psyche with an unbearable weight. In this new existence, time as we know it dissipates, leaving the soul forever enshrouded in a moment that stretches on, an eternity simultaneously beginning and never ceasing. The fires of eternal judgment do not merely announce verdict. They eternally etch it across the soul's existence. The verses of Scripture, neglected or dismissed, now ring with undeniable veracity, bearing witness against the condemned who had the means to learn and turn. And yet, for those who observe this depiction, for those still residing in the realm of choice and change, there lies a responsibility to listen, to act, to seek, and to find before the flames demand their due. This warning burns not with vengeance, but with hope for transformation, urging reflection upon life's path not merely to avoid the fire, but to embrace the love, mercy, and grace of God while still within reach. May this understanding fuel a present resolve, igniting a fervent pursuit of redemption, lest the ultimate disconnect become personal reality. As the fiery judgment from the previous chapter settles into a backdrop for a new understanding, we transition into a deeply reflective moment regarding awareness and redemption. This chapter serves as a potent emotional awakening, pressing upon the soul the urgency of spiritual introspection. It's an earnest fervor to examine the state of one's own spirit before it's eclipsed by an eternal separation from divine truth. Imagine, if you will, a place where the flickering light of the past sheds an unrelenting vision of every choice, every missed opportunity for redemption. In this realm, there's no cloak to obscure actions, only a chilling awareness, a deep realization of life's squandered moments. The awareness isn't blurred by forgetfulness, but magnified to a poignant sharpness that penetrates the soul's depths. The mind, in this realm devoid of God's presence, replays life's journey with startling clarity. The conscience, often dulled by life's distractions, becomes fully alive, and it screams silently of past denials and rejections of grace. It's in this awareness that souls face a punishment of regret, one that stings deeper than any physical torment. The recollection of each ignored whisper of the conscience, each disregard for a divine shoulder tap, becomes an unending echo in a lonely expanse. Imagine the torment of longing for a past filled with second chances, the sheer agony of seeing them slip away, forever out of reach. There's a keen understanding that while earthly sufferings were temporary, marked by the potential of change and growth, this suffering is eternal in its finality. The soul endures, not scorched by physical flames, but anguished by the absence of divine love, a love it now comprehends yet cannot grasp. The profound realization of living in a reality eternally cut off from God, from the source of all that is truly good, gnaws at the spirit with ferocity. In this, Even the faintest memory of divine grace feels like a cruel taunt in the shadowed corridors of the afterlife. But here, dear listener, lies the essence of what must not be overlooked. This is the moment of awakening, a junction that implores you to reflect on your spiritual state. It beckons you to engage with these revelations not as distant tales, but as potential realities. In the tangible world, redemption remains a potent offering. It is an invitation written as a promise on the heart of every willing soul. The Scriptures speak clearly on this. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3 verse 15. Each day is a gift draped in the opportunity for repentance, a chance to step away from narratives of neglect and towards a life aligned with divine truth. The spiritual teachings and warnings set forth in sacred texts are not meant to be ominous harbingers, but clarion calls for your soul's welfare. Ponder, for a moment, the purpose behind this artful awareness, a reminder that there's no curtain call once life stage is set in eternity. Each scene lived without redemption becomes a page written in stone. And so, you're urged to adopt a posture of spiritual vigilance. Reflect on your life's journey. Are there elements of your existence that need realignment with God's eternal promises? This final exhortation is not merely rhetorical, it is an earnest plea for transformation. The narrative of awareness without redemption becomes a verdict of inevitable regret, a fate that need not be sealed when you can seize the remarkable gift of salvation. Recall the essence of fully embracing a relationship with the divine, a relationship calling out with relentless grace, eager for your reciprocation. Awareness of this truth serves as one of life's greatest mercies. It implores you to draw closer to spiritual teachings, to heed timely warnings, and ultimately, to experience a profound spiritual awakening. Let not this moment of awareness be where the journey ends, but where it truly begins.